Hi everyone, this is Ida of Created to Create. Welcome back to my channel. If you are not 18 years or older, this video content is not intended for you. I have it's not necessarily a project share, but it's just something I would have been thinking sitting on this kit from Beadcraft Babe that she sent me because I didn't want to create a dangle. A I didn't want to create what everybody else was creating. So I wanted to come out with some other type of idea to do with the kit. So I actually just started playing a little bit this morning, and I have had this a couple weeks and had been just thinking, not knowing what I wanted to do with it. But this morning I was sitting here and decided to just take out some wire, and I did some wire wrapping on the pink ones right here, the chunky pink gumball beads, and I want to share with you what they look like, and I also want to share with you how I do them. And then I did had another idea to use these as knobs, but in a way that hopefully I think they'll be very secure. So anyway, I will list her website in the description box, and that way you guys can hop on over if you want to create what I created. Now um, I'm not sure if she has any kind of other tools. I know she has some tools for creating jewelry and stuff like that, so you'll have to go on her website to check it out to see what she has available. But I wanted to share with you what I used. I have this artistic wire that's 16 gauge, and truthfully this is kind of very firm. You maybe an 18 gauge would be better. And the thing with wire is the lower the gauge, the harder it is to work with it. So the higher the gauge, the softer it is to work with it. It bends easier, smoother. So 16 gauge is pretty thick, and it was a little difficult for me to work with. But it's got its pros and its cons. It's very sturdy, so that's one of the things that I like about it. And then I have another one here that's a 20 gauge. This is a brass wire, and this will bend really, really easy. So that kind of gives you an idea. See, this is 20 and this is 16. This is a lot thinner, but it bends very easy. So I wouldn't recommend a 20 gauge wire for making you know, adding loops to your beads or anything like that, because this is very soft. So I used the 16 gauge, but I think that the 18 would be better. So I'm going to share with you. Let's see, I have all my tools here, and I haven't even had coffee yet, guys, but I wanted to do her bead kit justice and also give you fresh ideas, which I'm hoping they're fresh ideas. So here are a couple of the ones that I created, that I did some wire wrapping on them. This was the first one. You can tell the loop is not as nice as on the second one, more round, because I had, I started to wake up a little bit, and I actually added more coils to this one. But there is an easier way to do that, and I'm going to share with you how to do that. So you're going to cut a piece of wire, and I will measure it for you all, but I kind of just eyeball it. So this is the wire that I'm using. It's a lot thicker, so you do want thinner wire, but you do want it to be sturdy. So test your wire. If it bends really easily before you buy it, don't get it. But I think that an 18 gauge is probably about right. So I'm going to cut a piece that measures about, I'm going to say about 6 inches. It doesn't have to be very long. I'm not going to do very many coils. I just want to share with you, just give you an idea on how I do this. See, as you can tell, it was kind of difficult to even cut that. So all you're going to do is you're going to take a pair of round nose pliers, and you're going to put your wire in between the round nose pliers as close where it's not sticking out. And you're going to want to give your wrist a turn and keep kind of adjusting your pliers and turning until you close that loop. See how the loop is touching the wire right there? That's what you want it to do. At this point, you're going to switch out to something like this, a flat nose plier. But there is ones that are for jewelry, that these have the ridges, so these are not for jewelry. The ones for jewelry are very smooth to keep from scratching your wire. But I happen to have a pair that has like a Teflon type of coat piece on there that's not going to scratch up my wire. And what you want to do is you want to put the loop in between the pliers just to the edge there so you can see the loop, and you want to turn, use your thumb and turn. Now you got to hold tight because this is very firm, so it's more difficult, but you wouldn't have this problem with an 18 gauge wire. But you want to turn it to start curving it around that loop, and it has to be right beside it. You don't want to be underneath or on top. It's like, kind of like if you're wrapping a spool of ribbon, where the ribbon is, the layers are on top of each other and not underneath or below. And you're going to keep wrapping like that. And because this is really, really strong, see the pliers keep it all in the same line, one on top of the other, and you're making a coil. So now you're going to take the other end. So I only did a few turns there for you to see. Now I'm going to take the other end and I'm going to go in the opposite direction. So I'm going to get my pliers, my needle nose pliers. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to curve. I'm curving away. See, this is turning into me. Now I'm curving away from me. And you're going to keep turning. Same thing until you get it closed. Just like that. And then you're going to take your pliers and you're going to keep doing the exact same thing. And you're going to keep turning, making a coil. And this is pretty difficult because this is very strong wire. This is what I happened to find in my bead drawer, so that's kind of what I pulled out. And I probably do have 18 gauge wire, but I still have a mess in my craft room, and it's hard to get to the drawers and that I keep that stuff in. So I'm going to keep turning, and it's coiling. See how it's making a coil? And you want to keep doing, oops, what happened? I kind of got twisted around. Okay, so if that happens to you where they're both facing the same way and they're not supposed to, just twist it away from each other. So see, right there. I have one going to the back and one to the front. And just keep going. I probably started coiling in the wrong direction. Till you just leave enough space for your gumball bead. Now I'm going to turn it this way, and I'm going to continue to do the same thing. I'm going to keep coiling till it gets to be about that big, and that is, I'll tell you right now, about 1.5 inches in length. And then what you're going to do is I'm going to take my finger right here and I'm going to bend it because I want it to curve. I don't want to get a kink in it. I want a smooth curve. And I'm bending one down. I'm bending them towards each other, making this curl. And this is what's going to house that the bead. Let me take another bead out. And I already have one pre-done. I'm just kind of giving you an idea. Now the idea is for this opening and the bottom opening to line up with the hole that is in your bead. So there's one, and then the other one you're going to have to adjust it, and I'm going to turn the bead, but you're going to have to adjust it to where they line up, because I already have one pre-done and already adjusted and everything. Here is the one that I have pre-done already. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take a piece of wire and create this. It's an eye pin. And I'm going to show you how to do that. And you don't need that as big of a piece as I used on mine. So I'm going to cut this one a little bit shorter. So I'm going to tell you what it is. Maybe about 2.5, 2 3/4 inches. And we're going to create the loop. So to create the loop, you're going to do the same thing. Just hold it in between the needle nose pliers and turn your wrist until you close that. Now, if you want a smaller loop, you pinch it in between the narrow side. If you want a wider loop, you'll pinch it further back. So I'm going to keep pinching, and you see how that is closed? Now to straighten that, to fix that, you're going to stick your your pliers in between in the loop, and then you're going to take this piece and you're going to just bend it back on itself to straighten it up. And that's what's going to give you that loop. Yeah, that's what's going to give you that loop. And if you feel like it opened too much, you can just go back and close it. See, now it's closed. I've been out of shot the whole time. I don't tend to go to my right because I'm right-handed, but I forget that the camera is over here on this side. Anyway, this is how you create that loop. And I will show you when we do this one, I'll show you again how to do that. So now you're going to put your bead in between your coil. You're going to add, you want to find the prettiest side to be the top. So I'm just going to stick this eye pin that I created in between in the bead, making sure that I'm in the center of this coil and in the center of the top coil. So now I want to make it into a loop like this one. So all you're going to do is you're going to get your wire and just bend it. I'm going to bend it away from me. And actually this wire is too long, so I am going to have to trim it, because you just want a small loop. So I think I'm going to trim most of it off, guys, like right there. I'm going to leave myself maybe 1/2 inch, if that. And I'm going to take my pliers. Again, I'm going to pinch the wire in between, and let me turn it away from me. It's better. That way I can roll my fist, my wrist away from me. You're going to take it in between the pliers, and you're going to start rolling until you close that up. And I still think that it's too big, but we'll see. Oh, it's actually not bad. But I think I want it tighter in there. So maybe I'm going to take another piece off. So I'm going to take just a little piece off, because it's not that long. It's just a little bit too long. And make sure you're wearing some kind of eye protection, because these things can fly. So now I'm going to pinch my wire again in between my pliers. And I'm just going to twist my wrist. And I'm adjusting my pliers as I'm twisting. And I want to make sure that it is closed. You can see in there that it's getting closed. So just use your wires to close that up and straighten it up, or whatever you need to do. So there it goes. So there is my charm, my bead that has the wire wrapping done on it. So that's one way to do it. The other thing that I came up with, I hope that's helpful. There are other tutorials on how to do this. I haven't done wire wrapping or bead wrapping in a long time. Actually, it's called wire wrapping. But that's what you can do with it. Now, another thing that I came up with is if you want to use these beads as knobs, there is a way to do that. And let me see if I can uncoil this, because I want to use this piece right here. I don't want to. No, you know what? I'm going to leave that alone and use it for another bead. I'm just going to go ahead and cut myself another section. And for this, you do want to use strong wire, because you're going to use it to create a knob. So I'm going to say you need probably about, I'm going to say about 4, let's say 5 inches. And it might be a little too much. You be the judge when you create them, or if you create them. I'm going to say about 4.5 to 5 inches. I'm going to move that aside. Again, for this, you do want to use a 16 gauge wire. So you're just going to guesstimate wherever the middle of this is. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to eyeball it wherever I think the middle is. And I'm going to hold it in between my round nose pliers. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to bend it down. I'm going to close that up. So I'm going to kind of crisscross them, because I want that loop closed. And I can see that I'm off just by looking at this. This is shorter and this is longer, but that's okay. That's not going to be a problem. So now I'm going to take my pliers and I'm going to hold that loop, and I'm going to straighten. Actually, I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to use the pliers. Remember how we made that loop, that we stuck it in the center of the loop and we just pulled the wire back? That's going to straighten that. So I'm going to do the same thing for the other side. I'm going to hold my pliers in place and I'm going to straighten that. So my loop is closed. And you can make it again. Remember, if you slide it further back, your loop is going to be bigger. If you hold it to the tip of the pliers, then it's going to be narrow, because these little needle nose pliers, they taper. So it depends on where you're making your loop. And in this case, it really doesn't matter. So now I want to close these up pretty much and put them as straight as I can. And now you're going to grab your bead. I have one right here. And you're going to thread both through the bead. They do fit, because this got a pretty big opening. Now I'm going to trim this so they're even. I wanted to make sure it didn't pop anywhere. So let's say I wanted to make a drawer pull for this box. I'm going to take my pokey tool and I'm going to make a hole. And hopefully the hole is big enough. I think it is. Might have made it too big. And I'm going to take some of these things out because I want you to see what I'm doing. And I was looking for a drawer any drawer that I had pre-made, but I didn't have anything that was pre-made. So you're going to take this, you're going to thread it through the hole that you created. Now, you do want to add glue in between the bead and the drawer, and you're going to do the same thing on the outside. So you're just going to put that in there. What does this give you? This gives you, not only does it give you a knob to open the drawers to whatever you just created that you didn't have matching knobs for, but it's also going to give you a loop here that you can hang a tassel or anything on there just for decorative to look pretty on your knob. And the way you're going to use these knobs is now you're going to crisscross them. So almost like a brad. So when you add these in the center, you do want to crisscross. Let me see. You do want to crisscross them. I'm trying to see where. Yeah. You do want to crisscross them, guys, because that gives it more stability, and you are going to add glue. I'm sorry I'm working in this tight little area, but all you're going to do is you're going to split it like you do. Let's take this out. You're going to split it. You're going to split it like you do a brad. So you're just going to open these up and split them like you do a brad. Now you can shorten them too. There it is. And you are going to want to add glue here, but you can then add your decorative paper. And there you go. There is your knob for whatever you created. This is a way that you can use these gumball beads as knobs. I hope that this helps you. I hope that it gave you ideas. Again, you can visit Evelyn at beadcraftbabes.com. So there is the website right there. No worries. I will post it in the description box below. Make sure to visit her. She's got a large selection of beads. So anything that you're creating that you want to create your own knobs for, now you know how to do it. Now, again, I think she carries some tools. I'm not exactly sure what all she carries, and I don't know if she carries the wire. But this is a great way to make custom knobs for any project that you're working on. Again, I'll give you another look at how this was the first one that I created. See, you want the loop right here to be as round as possible. And again, I'll be able to hang a tassel from here. I could hang a charm. You could hang whatever from the drawers, from the drawer pull that you just created. Thanks for watching. I hope everyone is having a great day, and God bless. Bye.